I'm John Florence,
I'm Nathan Florence.
and we're from the North Shore of Oahu here in Hawaii. We grew up in and around the ocean. Everything in our life has been something to do with the ocean, I feel like, whether it's surfing or body surfing. And a few years ago, kind of foiling started becoming a thing, and I feel like we're just super interested in doing new and different things, and if they're like physical endurance type things, it's really fun.
I feel like too, like here in the summers, like we have pretty dominant, or at least on North Shore, we have a pretty dominant trade wind, and so we always have
And there's
like
no swell, it's flat.
pretty good conditions wind-wise, but our summers are flat. Kind of looking for an activity to do in the ocean, and we'd originally gotten into prone paddling, but once we saw like what was starting to happen in foiling, we realized pretty quickly there was a big potential to like get out offshore and explore what was going on out there.
Yeah, and I felt like it was just something we were just like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. Because it mixes like surfing and just being like way out in the ocean and all these things into one thing, and endurance at the same time. And you're just like, it's the moments we have are just crazy. Like we'll be like 2 miles offshore and like 20 feet apart, standing there going on like a big wind chop, just going, oh my gosh, look at this. And there's flying fish going everywhere, and it's insane. But you know, to get there, it took us a pretty steep learning curve. We were riding these like older surf wings, and we would start up at Turtle Bay and just go from like wave to wave and have a race. And you'd be like sitting there waiting for a wave, and someone would like pump by you, and then they'd fall, and then you'd pass them, and then they'd fall. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. No! Damn you! Damn you! I obviously fell, and I had to paddle and get a wave. They were still flying last I saw and take our head. Nathan's up ahead of us. We're gonna catch him. Woo! Ah, my legs.
Right here at my paddles, I was like, I almost started puking.
Really?
My body's so numb.
Oh.
So far behind me, I can't even see him in the binos.
That was rough. It was so fun though.
The struggle was like anything with foiling. The most interesting thing was the beginning. We thought like, oh, we could make a quick transfer, but we really, after the learning curve happened, the struggle became our favorite part of it. Kind of, it was like who could struggle the most on the downwind run, who suffered the hardest usually made the run the fastest. But it quickly turned with the evolution of the foils to just our times in the beginning were over an hour, wave to wave.
From Turtle Bay to here, which is about like 5 or 6 miles.
And kind of just going reef to fully committing to the outside wind line and doing it in one run without dropping or burning out, cutting down to now we're at 23 minutes roughly.
20 minutes about, yeah.
I think one of the coolest parts is like in the beginning, right, as foils were evolving, it was really a lot of physical power and like that. And so you had to learn how to read the ocean out the back in the wind and be exerting this big force. But now where the wings are at, you really get to just focus on reading chop.
Yeah.
And that is like the one thing I felt transferred over into just being in the ocean in general, surfing and every other aspect of like water sports, is you really get a better grasp of how waves work, how they move, and your read on the ocean gets way better.
And the one thing, like finding power is so interesting. Like, and I think that's something that's been like even transferred over to surfing, is like, because you're out there and you're riding wind chops. They're not like these swells, and you have to find power and efficiency and everything. And it's so crazy because you go into surfing and then you're like, oh, you kind of know where to find that power at. Everything
about the foils caused like a study of maximizing efficient energy and speed out in the water.
And for me, like, I'm super into sailing too, and so it's like you're going so fast and you're looking at chops that are like, you know, 30, 40 feet ahead, like looking where you're going to go, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go there, and then you're just standing there just like going as fast as you can, and then like looking while you're on that wave like where you're going to go to next. And I don't know, it kind of feels like snowboarding almost too. Like you're like
pretty sure as soon as we started downwind foiling, we stopped going on snowboard trips. A direct correlation, just because like the similarity of like an epic powder day in the mountains, that's what we're finding here, and it's in our backyard. And it's kind of anyone who lives on the coast, it's right there in your backyard to have. And we were like, why would we we still love snow, but why would we travel when we could just run out?
We
and
literally just go up the road and
get
get dropped off, and you're just flying, and you're just like,
yeah.
It's insane. And it's been so fun though, because like Nate and I have done a couple really big runs, like a couple like 22-mile runs where you end up pretty far out. And you know, we started on these like really small boards, like Nate's board here in the back, where you stand up on a wave and you kind of pump to get out to the wind chop, and then you're in the wind chop and you kind of just keep cutting yourself further and further out. But the problem with those is that once you fall, you're done. You have to paddle in, and you're on this tiny board 3 miles out.
Basically swimming. It's a big paddle.
Yeah, it's a big paddle. And so we'd partner up, and we'd be like, okay, if you go down, I'll go down with you. If I go down, you go down with me, and then we'll paddle in together. So I just remember like we've had a couple where you're just like way out there, and a big rain squall comes, and you can barely see anything like within like a 30-foot radius, and I'm like yelling to Nathan, I'm like, are you still there? Like,
That's so cool. And you're really in a position like, I mean, you can fall and paddle in, but you really, really do not want to fall and paddle in. And so like you get into this state of almost like real hyper focus out there.
Yeah.
And when you stretch that over doing a 22-mile run, and it's an hour long, and you're standing on your feet flying, like that long in extreme hyper focus with you and your brother just out in the ocean, like you can't really find that anywhere else.
No, it's crazy. You get to the beach on the other side, and you look like where you came from, and you're like high-fiving. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that.
So high on it.
So yeah, it's pretty insane where the new foils have come to. And like, so the new foils we're doing with Lift, we're doing a 130 and a 110. And I mean, you can see here at the 110, they're super high aspect foils. They're just thin and fast, and it's insane like where the design has gotten to, because it makes it so like effortless and easy. And just like the 130 is kind of the all around foil. Like it's the one we were riding yesterday, and you're literally just standing there and just going, oh my gosh, like I'm going as fast as I want to go. And it has a really good low end too.
Before you were really just focused on not falling, but with the new tech and how good the foils are, like the glide itself is, you're able to push it on like the speed, or you're able to relax and surf the chop. You have time to look around and be like, like.
And it's kind of
allowing
us to go to when the waves are big here. So we'll get these really big north swells when all the second reefs are starting to break. And it is the coolest thing, because you're downwinding on a chop and you're like flowing kind of from one chop to the next. And then you look out and you see literally a 15-foot swell coming in, and you're like pointing to it. I'm like, this one! And then you like pump up to it, and you just turn down these like swells that are capping, and you're just like going 25, 30 miles an hour, just going cool off, and then into the next one. And you're just surfing these like swells that we've always like just looked at.
Yeah.
But never really thought about surfing them. They're just like these capping kind of swells out there.
Yeah, and a lot of times we get these these strong north swells, so it cooks down the coast with the wind, and it causes, like we've had runs where, because of the way the swells in our outer reefs are going down the coast, you're kicking out and you're riding a 10, 15-foot swell parallel with the coast for a minute at a time,
just standing there, Even some of those swells too, you get into those like second reef ones, and you'll ride it literally all the way into the beach at like Aokai or something, into the wave, kick out, and then ride a wind chop back out to the second reef. And I don't know, we get really psyched, because there's just like nothing else like that for us. So when the waves are bad, we go downwinding.
Yes.
When the waves are good, we go surfing. We're just going as far as we can out and enjoying the ocean for deep water exploration, and that's what we're really excited about.